The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. Chapter 2 Define. Chapter 2 of Part 1 Define. Who exactly is an entrepreneur? As I travel the world talking about the Lean Startup, I am consistently surprised that I meet people in the audience who seem out of place. In addition to the more traditional startup entrepreneurs I meet, these people are general managers, mostly working in a very large companies who are tasked with creating new ventures or product innovations. They are adept at organizational politics. They know how to form autonomous divisions with separate profit and loss statements and can shield controversial teams from corporate meddling. The biggest surprise is that they're visionaries. Like the startup founders I have worked with for years, they can see the future of the industries and are prepared to take bold risks to seek out new and innovative solutions to the problems their companies face. Mark, for example, is a manager for an extreme large company who came to one of my lectures. He is a leader of a division that recently has been chartered to bring his company into the 21st century by building a new suite of products designed to take advantage of the internet. When he came to talk to me afterwards, I started to give him the standard advice about how to create innovation teams inside big companies, and he stopped me in midstream. Yeah, I've read The Innovator's Dilemma. I've got that taken care of. Hmm. He was a long-term employee of a company and a successful manager to boot. So managing internal politics was the least of his problems. I should have known. His success was a testament to his ability to navigate the company's corporate policies, personnel, and processes to get things done. Next, I tried to give him some advice about the future, about cool, new, highly leveraged product development technologies. He interrupted me again. Right, I know all about that. Internet. And I have a vision of how a company needs to adapt to it or die. Mark has all the entrepreneurial prerequisites nailed: proper team structure, good personnel, strong vision for the future, and an appetite for risk taking. And so it finally occurred to me to ask why he was coming to me for advice. He said, "It's as if we have all the raw material: kindling, wood, paper, flint, even some sparks, but where's the fire?" The theories of management that Mark had studied treat innovation like a black box, for focusing on the structures companies need to put in place to form internal startup teams. But Mark found himself working inside the black box and in need of guidance. What Mark was missing was a process for converting the raw material of innovation into real world breakthrough success. Once a team is set up, what do you do? What process should you use? How should it be accountable to performance milestones? These are the questions the lean startup methodology is designed to answer. My point: Mark is an entrepreneur just like a Silicon Valley high tech founder with a garage startup. He needs the principles of lean startup just as much as the folks I thought of as classic entrepreneurs do. Entrepreneurs who operate inside an established organization sometimes are called intrapreneurs because of the special circumstances they attend building a startup within a larger company. As I have applied lean startup ideas in an even widening variety of companies and industries, I have come to believe that intrapreneurs have much more in common with the rest of the community of entrepreneurs than most people believe. Thus, when I use the term entrepreneur, I'm referring to the whole startup ecosystem, regardless of company size, sector, or stage of development. This book is for entrepreneurs of all stripes, from young visionaries with little backing but great ideas to seasoned visionaries with larger companies such as Mark and the people who hold them accountable. If I'm an entrepreneur, what's a startup? The Lean Startup is a set of practices for helping entrepreneurs increase their odds of building a successful startup. To set the record straight, it's important to define what a startup is. A startup is an institution designed to create a new product or service under conditions of extreme uncertainty. Again, a startup is a human constitution. Sorry, a startup is a human institution designed to create a new product or service under conditions of extreme uncertainty. I've come to realize that most important part of this definition is what it omits. It says nothing about size of a company and the industry or the sector of economy. Anyone who is creating a new product or business under conditions of extreme uncertainty is an entrepreneur, whether he or she knows it or not. And whether working in a government agency, a venture backed up company, a non-profit, or a decidedly for-profit company with financial investors. Let's take a look at each of the pieces. The word institution connotates bureaucracy, process, even lethargy. How can that be part of a startup? Yet, successful startups are full of activities associated with building an institution, hiring creative employees, coordinating their activities, creating a company culture that delivers results. We often lose sight of the fact that a startup is not just about a product, a technology breakthrough, or even a brilliant idea. A startup is greater than the sum of parts. It is an acutely human enterprise. The fact that a startup's product or service is new innovation is also an essential part of definition and tricky part of it too. I prefer to use the broadest definition of product, one that encompasses any source of value for the people who become customers. Anything those customers experience from their interaction with a company should be considered part of the company's product. This is true of grocery store, an e-commerce website, a consulting service, or a non-profit social service agency. In every case, the organization is dedicated to uncovering a new source of value for customers and cares about the impact of its product on those customers. It's also important that the word innovation be understood broadly. Startups use many kinds of innovations, novel scientific discoveries, repurposing an existing technology for a new use, devising a new business model that unlocks value that was hidden, or simply bringing a product or service to a new location or a previously underserved set of customers. In all these cases, innovation is the heart of the company's success. There is one more important part of this definition: the context in which the innovation happens. Most businesses, large and small alike, are excluded from the context. Startups are designed to confront situations of extreme uncertainty. To open up a new business that is exactly clone of an existing business, all the way down to the business model, pricing, target, customers, and products may be attractive economic investment. But it is not a startup because its success depends on execution, so much so that the success can be modeled with high accuracy. That this is why so many small businesses can be financed with simple bank loans. The level of risk and uncertainty is understood well enough that the officer can access its prospects. Sorry, the loan officer can assess its prospects. Most tools from general management are not designed to flourish in the harsh soil of extreme uncertainty in which startups thrive. The future is unpredictable. Customers face a growing array of alternatives, and the pace of change is ever increasing. Yet, most startups in a garage and enterprise alike still are managed by using standard forecasts, product milestones, and detailed business plans. Thank you for listening to the Lean Startup. I will continue to read tomorrow.